Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most incredible chapters of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. And our goal is to pull out some timeless wisdom that speaks directly to our lives right now. Tackling those big questions about our money, about what real power looks like, and what it actually means to live a just and fair life.
The source material we're drawing from starts with this really beautiful invitation, and I want to echo that same spirit with you today. This is not going to be a lecture. Think of it more as a shared exploration. You and I, we're on this journey together to find some real, practical lessons we can start using the minute this is over.
So here's our roadmap for this journey. First up, we're going to look at what the Quran says about true power and protection. Then, we'll get into a divine economic blueprint that flips the script on interest and charity. After that, we'll see how all this stuff translates into living a just life. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a super practical 10-step action plan you can literally start using today.
Okay, let's dive right in with our first big idea. Where does real, lasting strength actually come from? We live in a world that's obsessed with numbers, right? Follower counts, bank accounts, physical might. But the Quran offers a completely different, and I think much more profound, perspective on what it means to be truly secure. And there's this incredible story that brings this idea to life, the story of Talut-Jalut, which you might know as the story of David and Goliath. You've got this huge, terrifying army on one side, and this tiny, seemingly outmatched group on the other. And the lesson is just so powerful. Victory isn't about the size of your army, or your company, or your social media following. It's about the quality, the faith, the sincerity of your team. It's the ultimate proof that it's always quality over quantity.
And this phrase right here really gets to the heart of Ayat al-Kursi, the verse of the throne. It's considered the greatest verse in the whole Quran. And it's basically this powerful declaration. The ultimate force, the one sustaining everything you see and everything you don't, well, that force never gets tired, never sleeps, never falters. That's the real source of our security.
Okay, so how do we actually bring this profound sense of peace into our own lives? Well, the guidance is beautifully simple. Make reciting this verse a daily habit, morning and night. Think of it like you're consciously plugging into that ultimate source of protection. It allows you to genuinely find peace, to sleep soundly, knowing that the guardian of the entire universe is on watch.
But to really tap into that ultimate power, we first have to recognize the false powers we might be serving in our own lives. The Quran has a name for this, tagut. It means false patrons, or you could even call them modern-day idols. And we're not talking about statues here. We're talking about anything we put ahead of our core values, whether it's the relentless chase for money, for fame, or for power. Just recognizing them is the first step to freeing ourselves.
All right, let's shift gears a bit, because all of this builds into something truly radical, a blueprint for our financial lives. The Quran lays out an economic system that's based on the contrast between two totally opposite forces, one that takes and exploits, and one that gives and grows wealth for everyone. And the contrast is, well, it's just staggering. It's night and day. On one side you have riba, or exploitative interest, and the language used to describe it is the harshest you'll find in the Quran for pretty much any sin. It's a declaration of war from God. But on the other side you have sadaqah, or charity, and this isn't seen as just a handout. It's framed as the single greatest investment you could possibly make, a direct investment with the divine.
And to really help us feel this difference, the Quran gives us these incredibly powerful images. It compares charity to a single grain of wheat that just explodes into 700 years of grain. It's generative. It creates unbelievable abundance from something so small. And then it compares wealth built on interest to a thin layer of dust on a smooth rock. Sure, it might look like something for a little while, but the second the rain comes, poof, it's washed away, leaving absolutely nothing behind.
So when you see that 700x figure, it's not just some nice poetry, right? It's a direct invitation to completely rewire our thinking about money. It's challenging us to stop seeing giving as a loss, as a debit on our spreadsheet, and to start seeing it for what it is, the most secure, high-yield investment we could ever make in our, let's call it, eternal bank account.
So how do we actually make this divine investment? The guidance gives us 3 powerful, actionable steps. First, and this is a big one, give when you're feeling that financial pinch. When you feel like you don't have enough, it's a powerful way to break that scarcity mindset. Second, give from the best of what you have, not the stuff you were going to throw out anyway. And third, and this is absolutely crucial for preserving the dignity of the person receiving, give
and then just forget about it. Never bring it up again. Now, the flip side of investing through charity is making sure our own income is clean. And this means a few things. It means taking an honest look at our finances, really auditing where our money comes from. It means actively working to get rid of interest-based debt. And it means trusting in this beautiful concept of barakah, a divine blessing that makes pure ethical income feel more abundant and satisfying, even if the number on the paycheck looks a little smaller.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit. Because this divine framework, it's not just about our personal finances or our relationship with God. It extends out into all of our interactions, grounding every single one of them in fairness, in integrity, and in justice.
And the cornerstone of all this, it boils down to two simple but profoundly practical words. When you're dealing with loans or financial agreements, no matter how big or small, the instruction from the Quran is crystal clear. Write it down. This isn't about being suspicious or lacking trust. It's about ensuring clarity and preventing arguments and hardship down the road.
I mean, stop and think about that for a second. The single longest verse in the entire Quran isn't about some lofty spiritual concept or ritual. No, it's a meticulous, detailed guide to financial contracts, to accounting, and to the importance of having witnesses. That just speaks volumes about how much emphasis is placed on financial justice in our day-to-day lives.
And what's really important here is that justice is not a one-way street. We're guided to be fair in our pricing and wages, to be patient and lenient with people who owe us money, and even to forgive the debt entirely if we can. But at the same time, we're told not to let ourselves be exploited or wronged. Standing up for your own financial rights is just as much a part of justice as being generous.
And this principle of justice just beautifully expands beyond money into the realm of belief itself. There's that famous verse, "There's no compulsion in religion," and it sets the gold standard. Our job is to be a living, breathing example of our values, to model our faith through our character and our actions. It is explicitly not our job to force it on anyone else. Truth, the verse says, stands clear from error all on its own.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, some really big ideas. So let's just pause for a second, take a breath, and just reflect for a moment. What does this idea of financial justice actually mean in your daily life? How could it show up in how you run your business, how you treat your employees, or even just how you handle money with your family?
All right, we've been on this incredible journey through some really profound concepts, from what true power is to a whole new way of looking at economics. So now let's nail it all down. Let's bring it all together into one practical action plan that you can start putting into practice the moment we're done here. Here it is, your 10-point action plan. This is your toolkit, so let's run through it. Number 1, focus on sincerity, not size. 2, recite Ayat al-Kursi every day for that deep inner peace. 3, model your faith, don't force it. 4, audit your finances and start cleaning them up from interest. 5, give charity, especially when you feel like you can't afford to. 6, give with dignity and then let it go. 7, always write down contracts for loans. 8, be lenient with people in your debt. 9, identify and reject your own modern idols. And 10, practice financial justice, both in being fair to others and in protecting your own rights. This is a powerful framework for a life of real integrity and purpose. I want to leave you with one final question, a question that I think could change everything. This whole blueprint is an invitation to completely reframe our relationship with money. So what would change for you today if you started to see every single financial decision you make, every purchase, every investment, every donation, not just as a transaction, but as a profound act of worship?
If you got some value out of our journey together today, one of the best ways to put these principles of sharing into practice is to share that value. Please consider passing this on to someone who might benefit from it. And I would honestly love to hear from you in the comments. What was your single biggest takeaway? Thank you so much for joining me.